G'day subscribers. Today we're going to talk about some brake bits, some clutch bits, some speedo bits, and a few other bits. You're with Jules Knight on Jive Talking Garage. So we've had a really busy week at Jive Talking Garage. We've moved from doing one thing on our FJ to doing about 5 or 6. But some major things, which included putting sills on yesterday and clamping them up. I was never really happy with my driver's door. And last week we'd gotten to the stage where the welder, Dan and myself, we'd gone as far as we could without a bit more direction. So a friend of mine is the godfather in Queensland of FJ Holdens and Holdens in Speedway and stuff like that, Tony Manganaro, and he was always at me, do not set your car up without me having a look at it. I need to be there, or I want to do it. So I didn't want to burn that favour up just to put reinforcement on the car and things like that. I wanted to get Tony involved when I'd gone as far as I could without getting somebody in to tell me what the next leap was. So that's what happened yesterday. So inner sills are clamped in place, outer sills are clamped in place. And I've had the driver's door that I've never really liked the gapping on it, particularly at the bottom, for the 5 years that I've had the car in my garage. Tony came along, and at lunchtime yesterday, he was talking to the welder, and I'm working at the back, and he says, mallet and some wood and this and a big screwdriver and whatever else. And I'm working at the back of the car, and I can hear bang, 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 bang. And then after a little while, hear, Julesy, come and have a look at this. So I go down and I have a look at my door, and that door gap's fixed. It's no longer sticking out past the bodywork anymore. I'll put a picture up now. So anyway, Project Julius is going along leaps and bounds, and I'm really happy with it. So we're at the stage of putting the sills, burning the sills in so that we can do a little bit more rust work. I've done a lot with the sills so far. There was a lot of rust in the bottom of that car, unfortunately, but that's okay. We're in a much better place. So there's some photos of our progress on Jive Talking Garage on Facebook, so that's fine. But I got the last of my wheel cylinders back from the Brains Trust today, so that was really good. And what I've also done is I have taken I got five really good backing plates for the brakes. So like this is one of my original ones. Anyway, I got four good ones, and I sent them and the to the sandblaster with the front and rear ends and the springs, and take them over to the tronculator, and he's done some work on them and also delivered the bright zinc, and they've come up a real treat. So as you can see, the backing plates with the bright zinc on them just looks fantastic. Very happy with that. So the brake part themselves is, look, every one of them has a wheel cylinder. 2 different sizes on an FJ, but this one has been through BHSS. I bought them off Tony originally, and you will see there is the piston and the wheel cylinder, but in there is a tiny little piece of stainless steel. Now, that's what they talk about, a stainless steel sleeve. So that stainless steel sleeve is a cylinder that goes the whole length of that. It's a cylinder that is the same inside diameter, not outside, same inside diameter as the original bore. So they hone an old wheel cylinder out so that the outside diameter fits this sleeve that's in there, and then they'll slide the sleeve in, and then they'll recup it and reassemble it, and it'll be perfect. So that gives me 4 re-sleeved stainless steel sleeves in my wheel cylinders. So this is ready to go to the troncolator and go on the last backing plate. So super duper pleased with that. They'll also sandblast it and zinc it. In this case, where the inlets were and so on, there was a little bit of rubbish that was in there, so they've sandblasted that all out for me. So really, I'm getting a better than brand new wheel cylinder, and the value over normal original wheel cylinders that don't have a sleeve is that later on when you've got to do a brake job, well, it's so much easier to clean out the stainless steel sleeve than it is to re-kit one that doesn't have a sleeve. So these are nice and easy to do. So, you know, in 5 or 10 years time or whatever, it's a piece of cake compared to an original, redoing an original brake job. So that's fine. So I have also been working on the springs. I bought from Basil all his old stock, and in there was new old stock of a pair of coil springs. Now they are hanging up behind me just there, and that's fine. But what I did was I cleaned them up. I gave them a good sanding. I've got a sandblaster here, but I didn't sandblast them because they were pretty good. So I not only cleaned them up, I then gave them a wash and a prep sole and prepared them as such, and then they got a good old coat of Dulux epoxy to them, and I must say it looks really good. Now the same thing occurs to this you know, a pendulum bracket for my clutch to, so this goes from the side of the subframe to the bracket on the motor. Do I have one here readily? Forget about it. So it goes from the subframe to the motor, and when you push the clutch in, well, it sort of does that. But anyway, long story short, that is one of the ones that I had, and you can see how that's been wallowed out. So you'd have to weld that up to make that a circle again by drilling it out, and the same on that side too. It's been wallowed out a bit, but let's just say, where did I put it? Yes. Is it here? I had another one in some stuff that I bought from Newcastle, and I just prepared this one and gave it a good cleaning, and I had to find something that I could hold and paint. So one hand paint job. So I put it on something like so. You can hang a hook on it or whatever when you're painting and whatever is the case. But this then allowed me to put it in something and hang it up. And I've got to say, so I've graduated from something like this. I don't think that was the original one in my car, but that's the one that I got from the stuff I bought in Newcastle. And I've got to say, that's a big improvement. So that's the one I'm going with. Now I saw on one of the websites on Facebook. So I saw on one of the Facebook pages, one bloke saying, with this part, put a hole in it, put a grease nipple in it, pump it full of grease, and you won't get this type of wear. And I thought, good idea. And I came across this one, and it was already done. So there's a little hole there. So I thought, okay, that sounds good to me. Let's, shall we say, run with that. Now, last week, in some of the stuff that Scotty Too Hotty sent me, I didn't look at the bottom of the box. So I'm thinking in good time I need to go to the chrome plater and have a crack at one of these little fellas, because I need a job done on these and I need it mounted strategically. So I think that's just a wonderful little gift. So thank you, Scotty Too Hottie. That you're very kind and you look after us, and I try and reciprocate, so it works out well. Now, someone was talking to me about Speedos. Now, the Speedos are pretty much same dog, different eyebrows, because in my stock that I'm never going to use, here's an FX Speedo. FX Speedo, not bad. Now, you'll normally find they have some stamps on the back of them and some coding as far as date and month and so on when they were made. Shouldn't say born, but anyways. So FX, FJ. So color difference to the face. This is a deeper blue. Hello, as Ruby's coming to see us. Deeper blue, and I know that, let's forget about the fact that that needle's missing in there, but look at the tumblers. So with an FX, you have white tumblers and black writing, and an FJ, you have black tumblers with white writing. Now, when I was young, I found a brand new old stock FX Speedo, and that's what I put in my FJ. So that was what I was familiar with after I restored my car, but it started life like this. Now, this is a pretty good one. I bought that with the stock that I did in Newcastle, and I must say it's in very good condition. The red needle's not bad. It's probably a 9 out of 10. The one that I've got for my FJ is a 10 out of 10. And the ones you see that are a 10 out of 10, what's contributed to them are two things. Firstly, sun visor. They've got a sun visor on the car, so you're stopping that light bashing in, ultraviolet light, and fading the needle. And secondly, parked in a garage. So that being the case, you're going to get a really good needle on your Speedo. So I'm going to see how I go with mine that's upstairs, whether I run that or whether I run this one. But I'll get the brains trust to check this one out first before I use it. But FJ Speedo, FX Speedo, the difference in the tumblers, and also the colouring that's on here. This one's made by AC. I think they had a couple of different places to make them between the FJ and the FX. I remember the story. It's on one of the Facebook websites, but anyway, I'm not going to go into it. Now, let's talk about special tools for a moment. It's really important to have special tools, whether it be to remove the rear wheel hubs, the brake hubs on the back, to take off the harmonic balancer to get to the timing gears, to remove the master cylinder, or I like this little one that's been made. Now, I bought this off Tony at the Ormiston swap. Now, what it is let's just say we have a clutch plate, clutch plate, and we also have a pressure plate. That's the pressure plate. So this gets lightly bolted up to the back of the flywheel, and this is on the inside of it. Now, the biggest problem is you got the spigot bush in the back. This clutch plate allows the pressure plate to slam onto it. But the trick is getting this aligned into the back of your motor. Now, this is what I bought from Tony. This is an alignment tool. So really, it's an input shaft that's been cut off. And what it's doing is it's going on there like that, so that you can put it through the pressure plate, put it through the clutch plate, and put that into the back of the motor. And then once you then align the bolts up to the flywheel, well, then you can then attach the pressure plate onto the flywheel with the clutch plate in the back. Now, that will allow you to position it perfectly, because that is as good as an input shaft, because that's what it was. So it's really important to have all of these types of little special tools for an FJ Holden so that you can survive with it, you can maintain it, you can look after it, or even if you're a guy who drives a desk and you've got friends who are mechanics and they know more about it than what you do, well, you know, you can supply the tool to allow things to get done. And it's really important that we do have these things because it's keeping the Holden alive. So I think we've had a bit of a good chat today. We've talked about my coil springs behind me. We've talked about the pendulum bracket. We've talked about the wheel cylinders. We've talked about the Speedos. We've talked about the special tool for the input shaft. And we've talked about Scotty Two Hotties' kind gift of their own designed General Motors badge that they have on their bonnet ornaments. So while you're on your little device, don't forget to visit us at Facebook on Jive Talking Garage. You can see the shirts that Nathan's pumping out. So I'm wearing that proudly, and I want to say thank you to Nathan for making that for me, together with the sticker on the back. We're going to add a little slogan to it shortly, so that will work really, really well. But in the meantime, don't forget, more importantly, enjoy your Holden.